Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 843, July the 20th, 2019, Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so today we really don't have a whole lot going on the Spygate front, although there were some comments in the comments section from the last video where I think I sort of prompted a lot of these questions when I was talking about AG Barr. So I've had some comments about AG Barr. So rather than address them specifically in the comments section, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of give a general, my general overview, sort of my thoughts on Barr at this point, which haven't changed much from my original thoughts. But I'll get to that at the end of the video. But before I do, I'm going to go through most of the video today is going to cover things I generally try to avoid unless there's nothing else to talk about. But I think it's really important today because what you've seen in this past couple of weeks is probably some of the most brilliant political strategy that I have ever seen. And I've seen some pretty damn good political strategists over the years. And I think that based on what I'm seeing here, I believe that after Trump has left office, for many, many years to come, political strategists will go back and look at Trump and study him and study what he did and how he did it. And he will become literally like a mentor for political strategists for decades to come, because of the absolute masterful way that he is manipulating the entire media, which is against him, and his political opponents as well. I mean, he's just playing these people like a fiddle, and we hear this all the time, and it gets to be a very blasé phrase, but I mean, think about what we're talking about here. We have two extremely radical individuals on the left, the wild-eyed commie Ocasio-Cortez, and we have, of course, Ilhan Omar, who, as we're learning this week from some news stories where there's people really looking into her background, we're realizing now that that's not even her real name. Ilhan Omar is not even her real name, and she's not even part of that family. And that she may have been married to her brother, which creates all sorts of problems with issues of taxes and various other things. So these are highly radical, and most importantly, they're anti-Semitic as hell. I mean, as communist is one thing, they're anti-Semitic as hell. And this is important if you're a Democrat, because most Democrats, most Jews, I should say, most Jewish people vote Democrat. That's just a fact. Most Jewish people vote Democrat. And when you look at Omar and Ocasio-Cortez and Tlaib and the other one, the four horsewomen of the apocalypse, they are literally every day, almost one of them makes a very anti-Semitic comment, and they don't even back down from it. And of course, they're not questioned about it by the left-wing media. But more importantly, what you see is that Trump, every single day, he makes sure to say a couple things or send out a couple tweets that makes sure that he launches some sort of an attack, and it's warranted, on AOC or Tlaib or Omar. And he's really been focusing on Omar the last week, AOC the week before. And what this has done, if you have been paying attention over at PMSNBC and at CNN, it has caused them to take up the mantle, and particularly this week, for Omar. They have literally on those two networks elevated Omar into almost like hero status. I mean, it's like hero worship on MSNBC and CNN this week over Omar as they attempt to defend her. So Trump is essentially, what he's doing is he's manipulating the left-wing media, and they don't even realize that they're being manipulated, into making it all about Omar, primarily Omar, AOC, and Tlaib. It's those three all the time. Trump's constantly doing something to make sure every day that he says something or does something that forces the left-wing media to cover these people and then take up the mantle for them, elevate them into hero status, and push and pump them, which is making them essentially the face of the Democratic Party. And what this is doing is it's forcing the rank-and-file Democrats to support them or keep their mouths shut if they don't. And more importantly, it's causing the 2020 candidates running for president on in the Democratic field they're being forced to fall in line, because if they want to get the nomination, they have to throw red meat to the base. and they have to fall in line with what they see and hear and believe is where they have to be in order to get the nomination. And that is being in support of the heroes, or the heroines, I guess you would say, AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, and Tlaib. And what Trump knows is that these three are unhinged. And if you keep letting them talk, not that they haven't already said things that are absolutely outrageous, they're going to continue, and eventually they're going to say something really that's going to get them in a lot of trouble. And it's just a matter of time before this happens. But by then, they will have become the face of the Democratic Party. All the candidates will have essentially backed them. They will all be owned along with them. They will not be able to separate themselves. They'll be caught up in it, and they'll all go down together. So this is the genius of Trump. He is making sure to take the ugliest thing about the Democratic Party and not only put it front and center, but get the media and the rank and file Democrats and the Democratic Party to essentially do the same. And it's brilliant political strategy. And I've never seen anything quite like it. And it's really, I guess it's the hatred of Trump derangement syndrome or whatever, but it's really, puzzling to me why and how the left-wing media and the Democratic Party can let themselves be sucked in and played like this. You'd think they would see this, but I guess they're blinded by their hatred for Trump. And so he is going to continue this, and it's only going to get worse. Trump is going to continue to target Tlaib, AOC, and Omar every day. He's going to continue to ratchet it up. He's going to continue to push it and push it and push it because he knows he can control what he's doing, but he knows these people have very little control. And he knows that the entire left-wing media and the Democratic establishment and the 2020 candidates on the Democratic side are all getting sucked into this. They're all getting sucked in, and they're all going to go down together, and they're going to go down hard. And, they're trying to make it about racism and all this sort of stuff. Well, I'm telling you, Trump is going to do better. In fact, I think he's actually going to get more votes from African Americans in 2020 than any Republican president has probably ever gotten. And that also probably as well as the Latino, Hispanic community will also, I think he's going to pull record numbers with them. Because the legal Hispanics in this country understand the issue exactly as Trump is explaining it. They're not stupid. A lot of them are also small business owners. They do a lot of the type of landscaping work, grass cutting, carpentry. They do a lot of the service type work that other folks used to do. Now a lot of it's being done, and these are small business people. So they understand it very well. And many of them came here legally, the correct way. And so they get this even more than the average person would, who's not Hispanic or whatever, or not an immigrant, first-generation immigrant to the country. So Trump is a brilliant political strategist. He is sucking these people right in, and they are. It's almost like you have a catfish, a big catfish that hasn't eaten in a month, and you wave a giant goldfish under his nose. I mean, they just can't resist. They don't even bother chewing on it. As soon as they see it, man, it's like, and they just inhale it. They just inhale it. They don't even bother chewing. I mean, and that's what the left-wing media and the Democrats are doing. They are taking the bait, man. They are taking the bait hard. Swallowing it hook, line, and sinker. And Trump's just sitting back playing them like, he's like the marionette. He's just sitting back doing it. And he's even amazed that they're falling for it. He probably thought by now that they would have figured it out. But they haven't. Because if you saw Rachel Madcow this week, or if you watched any CNN this week, they have literally placed Omar onto a pedestal, and it's like hero worship. They're making her and AOC literally the face of the Democratic Party. And that's a losing strategy, because while maybe in New York and California and a few of those places on the coast, maybe that plays well. But I can tell you that in the Midwest, in the South, even in the Southwest, places across the country, it's a loser. It's a big loser. And Trump could win really, really big in 2020 if they don't catch on in a hurry. But I think they're already hooked now. I don't think they can walk back from where they are. And I think Trump is going to ramp it up. I think he's going to keep talking about AOC and Tlaib and Omar. He's going to pay attention to every tweet they make, every word they say, and he's going to stay on it constantly. And he's never going to he's never going to allow them to fall out of the daily news cycle. He's going to make sure that these three stay front and center in the news cycle. He's going to make sure that he continues to go after them because he knows that the Democrats, the left-wing media, will come to the rescue, and before they know it, they will have propped these three up as the heroes of the Democratic Party, in the face of the Democratic Party. And then, once you go there, look at the issues. They are literally communists. I mean, it's just amazing to watch this happen, and that's why it's so important to understand what is going on here. With that in mind, now let's go through the following news stories. Now, this first one is probably, it's just unbelievable considering this is happening now. This just happened very recently, this week, just as this entire flap-up went down with Trump talking about Omar should go back to where she came from, solve the problems there, and then maybe come back and teach us what she learned. She is from Somalia. Somalia. Check out this story. Hoden Nyalea, a Somali-born Canadian journalist, traveled to Somalia last week to prove that Somalia is beautiful and to challenge stereotypes about Somalia and countries like that. And she's talking about Trump. And in her effort to do this, Nyalea ended up being killed by Islamic terrorists. At first, it looked like a paradise. She's sending back pics on Twitter and talking about what a great time she's having. She's showing these sandy beaches. She's showing the beautiful ocean there, the blue water. And all looked good until a terrorist group, very well-known terrorist group in the region called Al-Shabaab, stormed the hotel where Nyalea and her husband were staying, along with 24 other people. And Al-Shabaab attacked them and killed them all. All 26 people killed by Al-Shabaab. So here's this Somali-born, or Canadian-born, she actually is Somali. She actually was born in Somalia, but lives in Canada. She's a journalist there. She goes there to kind of, because she wanted to come back and show these pics and tell the story of how Somalia is a wonderful country. In other words, all the things Trump says, are not true. But instead, he ends up being proven 100% true and accurate when he describes what Somalia is like. Because in the process of trying to do this little publicity stunt, she and her husband, along with 24 other people, end up being killed, massacred by the radical terrorist group Al-Shabaab at the hotel they were staying in. Unbelievable. Now, do you think that the left-wing media will report on that? No, they will not. That's why I'm here. You can look the story up for yourself and read it for yourself. The moral of the story here is that not only are liberals dangerous, not only are the demo commies' policies a death knell to America and anyone else who applies them, but liberals and the demo commies will get you killed with their stupidity. They'll get you killed. That's how serious this is. That's why I do these videos every day. Because I know this. It's not just that they have bad policies. It's that they will get us killed. They'll destroy the country in the process and get us all killed. That's why they have to be stopped. Sad news. I'm certainly not happy to have to report that this Canadian, Somali-born Canadian journalist and her husband are dead along with all those other people. It's very sad. But it's their own stupidity that got them killed. Anybody with a lick of sense knows that that's one hell of a dangerous place. And if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you better stay out of a place like that. She was sending back all these photos of the beautiful beaches and the sun and the ocean, and telling us how lovely it was and how nice the people are and how great it is. Then she goes back to her hotel, her and her husband, and they get massacred by terrorists. All because of a publicity stunt that didn't go well. She should have listened to Trump. That's where Omar is from. Somalia. Do you think Omar will talk about that? Do you think Omar will talk about and bring scorn upon Al-Shabaab? I bet that crazy bitch will be out there praising them. Trump's doing the right thing by making sure that Omar is the poster girl for the Democratic Party. And what's even more funny is we know that AOC, the wild-eyed commie, is a total media whore. She needs attention. She needs attention really, really bad. And it's probably got to be bothering her that Omar is getting more attention than she is right now. It's just a matter of time, my friends, for the four horsewomen of the apocalypse turn on each other. And I don't think the Democratic Party, led by these four, can go the next 13, 14 months or so without completely turning on each other. You give Trump 14 more months to work on this. By then, these Democrats will be, going after each other. They'll forget all about Trump. They'll be too busy attacking each other by then. He's going to turn these people inside out and upside down. Inside out. That's how you got me, boy. Yes. Oh, man. Oh, man. We are witnessing a political genius. Like I said, years after Trump is gone, political strategists will be studying him for years. He's a genius political strategist. It's not a team. It's him. Politicians pay teams of people lots of money for political strategy. Trump just sits back and does it on the side as a hobby. while he does a fantastic job of running the country and dealing with everything else. That's just a side hobby of his. Tweaking the commies. And he's a master. Now, let's get on to some more. You're not convinced yet? Let me continue. We have the demo commie John Tester. He goes on PMSNBC, the Rachel Madcow network, where they now have made Omar a hero, the face of the Democratic Party. So he's doing an interview, and he threatens that he's going to punch Trump in the nose. And then, by the time he gets to the end of the interview, he's calling for an end of the hateful rhetoric. Threatens to punch Trump in the nose at the beginning of the interview, and by the time he gets to the end of the 5-minute interview, he's calling for an end to the hateful rhetoric. These people are completely unglued, man. They are completely unglued. Not convinced yet? Let's move on. But first, before we get to the next crazy story, here's an update, a Rotten Reverend Clinton 2020 update. I keep telling you she's going to run. Now, here's what I've said. I believe if Biden does not make it, and I don't believe he will, I honestly cannot see Biden making it. I know people keep saying, oh, he's been leading now since he jumped in the race. He's still got a 9-point lead. He's going to be the guy, whatever. But I've been watching this guy for a long time. And I'm watching him, and I'm watching when he tries to answer questions. This dude is not, he's not got it together upstairs, man. His mind is failing. And he was never a good, he's not a good counterpuncher. He just doesn't have the chops, man. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to make it. And I think the Rotten Reverend Clinton knows that as well. And once he's gone, there's no one else to occupy center gravity. Everyone else is completely gone to the far left, far as you can go. There will be such a gigantic void, someone will have to come in and fill it. And the Rotten Reverend knows that. And I don't think it's an accident. I think it's all being planned. So I have said that if Biden drops out, the Rotten Reverend Clinton will occupy his space. And I believe he's not going to make it. Now, if he manages to hold on, and it's possible in a field that's that bad, and he being the only real centrist that has any name recognition or whatever. There's a couple others there, but they simply don't have the name recognition or whatever. That they just can't get any traction. So it's really pretty much Biden occupying that territory. And once he's gone, it's a void, and someone has to fill it, and that's going to be the Reverend. Now, if Biden hangs on, then Hillary probably would not jump in the race. But Hillary will make sure that Biden goes away. She'll let him do it on his own, because that's likely what will happen. But if she needs to give him the push, she certainly will. I can guarantee you that. All she's got to do is have her people make one phone call to the media organizations and say, okay, it's time to go after Biden. And the CNN, MSNBC, the whole 9 yards, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they will immediately go on the attack on Biden and point out all the things that I'm observing, and many of you are observing. And they'll highlight those things, and Biden will tank. And then he'll get plastered in the next 2 debates, and that'll be it. And then come October, late October sometime probably, before the filing deadline, the Rotten Reverend Clinton's fake AstroTurf draft Hillary campaign will be in full fruition, and she'll be right there to jump in and fill the void. That's how I think it's going to happen. So that's just my gut feelings. And so I'm just laying it out, what I think. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm right. We're going to find out, aren't we? So with that in mind, we have the Rotten Reverend spouting a really hideous Chairman Mao costume, giving a speech yesterday where she was receiving an award that nobody's ever heard of before from the SCLC. And the award she received, believe it or not, is called the Realizing the Dream Award. Realizing the Dream Award. Can you believe that? You give the Rotten Reverend Clinton the realize. Now, to me, realizing the dream is kind of the same thing as saying achieving the dream. Realizing something, when you use the phrase in this context, realizing the dream, it means you have achieved the dream. But the Rotten Reverend didn't achieve the dream. She was defeated in the most embarrassing, humiliating fashion of anybody I've seen in modern political history. She was supposed to win in a landslide, and she got smoked. How do you receive an award after that experience for realizing the dream? They probably just made this award up. This entire thing was scripted, my friends, and all these events that you're going to be seeing around the Rotten Reverend are totally 100% scripted. This is, and it's not the beginning, this has now been going on for like 2 or 3 weeks now. I've been seeing this kind of stuff. The language she's using. She's making political stump speeches. She's using very cleverly worded phrases that compel people to get the impression or to get the feeling that she's it's almost like she's not saying, hey, I need you all to support me, but she's using words and phrases that would want you to feel that way. And it's very, very carefully worded the way she's doing this. So anyway, she's giving this speech, coming up there to accept this award, and this is in Atlanta, by the way. She gets this Realizing the Dream Award, which they probably just manufactured, because this is classic Clinton operation. Classic Clinton operation. So she took the opportunity in her acceptance speech, of course, to trash Trump. Now, this particular demon, the Rotten Reverend, has no class. None. She accused Trump of being a racist for trashing the four horsewomen of the apocalypse. The Rotten Reverend's speech was laden with fear-mongering and subtle hints about needing to win at the ballot box in November. Needing to win at the ballot box in November. And what happens when Biden is gone? Then all the left-wing media working for the Reverend are going to start running stories saying, well, it looks like Trump's going to win because all the Democrats are far to the left of where they need to be. There is no more centrist candidate. Biden's gone. There's no more centrist. We're going to lose bad to Trump. That's when you're going to hear the "Run, Hillary, Run." That's the chant that you're going to hear. And how do I know that? Because operatives for the Rotten Reverend Clinton, staged in the audience at the speech, began leading the cheer, the chant, "Run, Hillary, run," after she finished her speech. This was totally scripted, including the chant at the end of the speech, "Run, Hillary, run," which they took from Forrest Gump. They have no originality whatsoever or creativity. This is classic Clinton, man. I know the Clintons so well. I know them like I know the back of my hand. I can see a Clinton plot developing a mile away. I can smell it. This was totally, straight up, a scripted event. And there'll be many more events like this. They're completely loaded. And they're all designed to be part of the fake Draft Hillary campaign so that when she and her friends, if Biden don't take himself out, they'll make sure they take him out. And then there'll be a big void, and she'll be the only one there that can fill it. You notice she's not taking any hard positions in these political stump speeches. She's using carefully worded rhetoric. Just watch. Watch her operate. I've been doing it for years. Run, Hillary, run. Listen. Keep your ears open for that one. Run, Hillary, run. You're going to start hearing that. By fall, by early fall, October, you're going to be hearing a lot of Run, Hillary, run. You're going to see a lot of hit pieces on Biden if he's still around. And the Reverend is going to increase her frequency of public speeches. There'll be stories coming out. They'll start questioning Biden. They'll start saying, you know, Hillary really hasn't totally taken herself out of the game. Is it possible? She may be the only one who can beat Trump. Because the polls show that most of the Democrats are too far to the left. Keep watching. Well, George Nader, one of Uncle Bob the Executioner's star witnesses, was charged in federal court on Friday on 3 counts of engaging in illegal sex acts with a minor, a 14-year-old. He was previously accused of, in fact, I think he actually either served a year in jail or they tried to get him to serve a year in jail and he fled. I can't remember which, because it's been a few months since we covered that story. But he was previously accused of soliciting sex from a 14-year-old boy in Prague. So Uncle Bob, the drive-by executioner, used a known pedophile to try and implicate Trump on Russia collusion, knowing good and damn well that it was total bullshit. And knowing good and well that there's not even any such crime as collusion. It can only be used for impeachment. Despicable. Absolutely despicable. Well, the leftists are starting a petition drive to ban Trump rallies. That's called fascism. They're going to start a petition drive to ban Trump rallies after the audience in his previous rally started chanting, "Send her back." His next rally is scheduled to be in Cincinnati, 30 minutes south of me. Now, they're putting all types of pressure on the company that owns the First Star Center, which is where this speech is scheduled to be. And I don't think they'll be successful, but you never know. But I can tell you that if they are successful in getting First Star Center to cancel the event, you're going to have a lot of very, very angry Trump supporters in Cincinnati, and he is very popular here. Very popular. As in, he won this district I live in, Butler County, with like 90%. He's very popular where I live, and even in most of areas of Cincinnati. If they cancel that event, if they're successful, I assume someone else will come in and provide a place for the event to happen. Someone will step in and they'll provide a place for the event to happen. I'm sure of that. And the First Star Center will be very, very, let's just say that the payback will be incredible, because a lot of events are held at the First Star Center. And I can assure you that if they cancel, Trump supporters will never go to another First Star event. Never. They will never darken the doorway of that facility for any event ever again. It will cost them a hell of a lot of money. It will cost them a hell of a lot of money, because Trump is very popular here. They better think long and hard before they let themselves be bullied into canceling this event in Cincinnati, or anywhere else for that matter. And that's straight up fascism, my friends. That's what fascism is. Silence your opponents. That's the opposite of what we do in this country, because you don't like their opinion. There's nothing wrong with saying send her back. I don't have a problem with it at all. I agree. I would like to send Omar back to where she came from. Maybe that's Minnesota. Good. Send her back to Minnesota. That's good enough for me. Just get her the hell out of D.C. And if she's from Somalia, send her back to there. Okay. I know so far now a lot of you are sitting back saying, man, this is going to be an easy week to pick Dumbass of the Week. Omar's got to be it. With the comments she's made this week, she even tops AOC. It's going to be a slam dunk, right? Wrong. Wrong, because here's some competition for Omar. I'll just give you the news headline and you can figure the rest out for yourself. Here's the news headline, not from The Onion. True news headline. A trans activist sues Brazilian wax business after the owner refuses to shine her balls. Trans activist sues Brazilian wax business after the owner refuses to shave her balls. There you go. We have Ilhan Omar saying yesterday that boycotting Israel is like boycotting Nazi Germany. You think Mad Cow will cover that? I don't think so. We have Bernie Sanders. He's in a lot of trouble because it looks like his campaign staffers are about to walk out on him. They're raising hell because he's not paying them $15 an hour. He's paying them $11 an hour. We have MSNBC, PMSNBC's Andrea Mitchell, claiming that the Squad are not socialist. Well, she's right. They're not. They're communist. Or fascist. Take your pick. Now, regarding William Barr, my thoughts were and have been, and they really haven't changed very much. I mean, yeah, is he a member of SES? He probably is. He's been with the government for a long time. We had some other comments. Is he SES? Is he holding off to 2020 to have major impact for the elections? Is he our only hope? And all these sorts of things. All very good comments, all very thought-provoking comments. Thank you for leaving them. My thoughts on Barr are very simple. The guy is wealthy. Very, very wealthy. Multi-millionaire. He's 68 years old. He was basically retired or just working part-time, making big money for a law firm if that's what he wanted to do. He did not need this job, did not need to come back and have his long career at the DOJ destroyed over this, which is what he's going to do. He is going to take a lot of hits in this thing. I don't think he came out of retirement to do all that for nothing. So that's why I still believe that Barr is someone we have to put our trust in for now. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. I hope I'm not. But I don't think he came out of retirement to keep the seat warm. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See ya. Bye.